Okay, Champions of Champions Boxing Talk is back, brother. Whew, gonna have to take a deep breath after that. Well, Anthony Joshua dramatically suffers his first defeat as a fighter. I did say the fight would not go 8 rounds. Andy Ruiz would not go past the 8th round with Anthony Joshua, and I was right. Andy Ruiz stopped Anthony Joshua in the 7th. Alright, I did predict Joshua to win, but the fight didn't get to the 8th. Right? First of all, Eddie Hearn after the fight, saying that the rematch will be in the UK. How disrespectful to the new heavyweight champion of the world, the first ever Mexican to win the world heavyweight title, can you be? Andy Ruiz should have the opportunity to take the fight wherever he wishes, whether it be on the moon, in Mexico, America, you name it. Andy Ruiz is the champion now. So let's not be disrespectful, Eddie Hearn. Tonight, Katie Taylor got a gift. The Belgium girl beat Katie Taylor. She was robbed. Katie Taylor lost. Let's just say that first of all. So it was a night of controversy, and Andy Ruiz did the thing which you have to do against the big boys. Stop them. Because if it goes to that scorecards, you will lose. Golovkin, I hope you're watching. If you're going to fight Canelo, you've got to take a leaf out of Andy Ruiz's book there. Because that's what he did tonight. And I love Anthony Joshua as a person. And he's a good fighter, tremendous fighter. I'm taking nothing away from him. But Anthony Joshua was classy. Anthony Joshua gave Andy Ruiz all the credit in the world. He made no excuses. Anthony Joshua does not want anyone to be robbed. It's the system that is the problem. Now, Sky Sports was talking about why didn't Joshua fight the way he fought against Joseph Parker. Do you know why? Joseph Parker was not allowed to get close to Joshua at Wembley. The referee kept breaking it up. Tonight, Andy Ruiz was allowed to do his thing, to get close when necessary and let that hand speed fly. And it was a toxic combination because what did I talk about with Anthony Joshua in previous videos? His upper body is very static. Static. The head movement is really not quick enough to deal with the hand speed of an Andy Ruiz. It wasn't with Povetkin. Joshua was busted up in that fight, right? It didn't deal with Klitschko's hand speed. It didn't deal at times with Dylan White, who also rocked Joshua, right? Joshua to beat Andy Ruiz would have to do a absolute bore fest. Jab move, jab move, jab move. Because the minute, here was Andy Ruiz's advantage. When Anthony Joshua thought he had actually hurt Andy Ruiz and went in for the kill, that gave Andy Ruiz the chance to display that hand speed via Anthony Joshua's static upper body. So Joshua, when he gets Andy Ruiz hurt, he really can't go in for the kill. And I was surprised he went in for the kill. When he ran in recklessly like that, I didn't predict Joshua would lose tonight, but my heart was in my mouth in that moment. And then suddenly, bam, in the 3rd round, Joshua knocks him down. He gets greedy with a fast puncher. Don't get greedy with a guy who's got better hand speed than you, and your reflexes can't deal with his hand speed. That is the first thing. People say that proves that Deontay Wilder beats Anthony Joshua. Maybe Deontay Wilder does, but you're forgetting something. Styles make fights. Andy Ruiz is two-handed. Joshua didn't only have to worry about a big right hand there. He had to worry about punches in bunches, combinations. You know, but make no mistake about it. If Andy Ruiz could absorb a shot from Deontay Wilder does the same thing, doesn't he? He tries to go in for the kill. Maybe he's susceptible to Andy Ruiz's hand speed. That is interesting. Can Anthony Joshua bounce back from this? Of course he can. This is boxing. George Foreman lost. Many have lost. Muhammad Ali even lost. You know, I must say tonight, though, when he was getting hit, Andy Ruiz is not the biggest puncher in the heavyweight division. He's a good combination puncher, as I said. Fast hand speed. I thought he'd thrown the chance away when he didn't go for the kill in the 4th round. But he saw something that I didn't. He knew that he could time Joshua then. He was confident he could hurt Joshua then. And again, it's a different fight and a different night, but Wilder v. Joshua, if Andy Ruiz can hurt him, Wilder is going to be very confident he can hurt Anthony Joshua. Tyson Fury might even be confident he can hurt him. We have to remember, Joshua has been in some tough fights. That Klitschko fight, he took an absolute whipping. He gave a whipping back, but he took an absolute whipping. The Dylan White fight was not pretty, right? So, tonight, Andy Ruiz did not win. He pulverized Anthony Joshua. Shot after shot after shot on the top of the head, down the middle. Was the stoppage premature? I didn't get what was going on, to be honest with you. I was wondering what the referee was doing. I thought the referee was being political and trying to give Anthony Joshua time to recover. But I noticed the mouthpiece was not in Anthony Joshua's mouth. Maybe the referee felt he was a bit dazed. And, it's always better to maybe end a fight one punch too soon than one punch too late. I think Andy Ruiz was on the verge of stopping him. Maybe brutally stopping him. But we'll never know. But for them criticising the referee, do you really want Anthony Joshua hurt? I don't, right? That was a good fight tonight, by the way. Right? That was a real good fight, in my opinion. Andy Ruiz, congratulations. Fantastic. But as I said, Anthony Joshua did take an absolute plummeting, I should say. And they compared that loss tonight with, some of Lennox Lewis's defeats. Lewis was in control in his defeats against Hasim Rahman in South Africa and got caught by a massive right hand that he didn't see. Up to then, Lewis was not taking the brutal punishment that Joshua was taking tonight. That's one difference. Same in the Oliver McCall fight. Lewis won that first round, was on the verge of winning round 2, and then he got caught. Right? But he wasn't taking an absolute licking. Joshua has took a few lickings. He's took lickings in fights he's won. I wonder, has that taken some of the punch resistance? That Klitschko fight, go watch that back. By God, that was a war. Tonight was a war. Has it caught up with him? Did he overlook Andy Ruiz? I don't know. But Andy Ruiz will always have the hand speed advantage over Joshua. That's his advantage, right? Maybe it is a style-make fights. Would I take this rematch if I was Anthony Joshua? No, not in a heartbeat. But because I think Andy Ruiz, don't forget, he only had 5 weeks to come up with a strategy for this fight. Now he knows he can hurt Anthony Joshua. Another person he reminded me of tonight when he was getting hit, and that's David Price. Right? As I said, he has took some shots, Joshua, big shots, and done well to absorb them. Has it taken its toll? Because again, he was being hit. Sometimes, here's the damaging thing. Andy Ruiz does not have a Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua punch. But sometimes you're better being clean, knocked out, not absorbing punishment, like what happened with Lewis, than a fighter who's slightly less powerful, but is hitting you a lot with combinations. It's like being beaten up, or should I say tortured, with a blunt razor. Sometimes you're better off with a sharp razor. The blunt razor was what Anthony Joshua faced tonight, right? Sometimes, as I said, it's better face the dynamic puncher that puts you out the misery than the guy that just beats you down. And that was a beatdown. But as I said, he can come back. It's all mental. And another thing I want to say, and I'm not comparing myself with Andy Ruiz. Can't hold a glove to the guy. But I did say, and I have said in the past, bodies don't win fights. Bodies don't win in life. I don't encourage people to put on a lot of weight, but I'll just tell you one of my own experiences. I've not always been Twiggy, shall we say. I've not always been Mr. Skinny. But I've ran marathons. And I have pulverised some people that are a lot more skinny than me. Skin and bone. And I've passed them on the court. So don't judge a book by its cover. Don't get me wrong. I think Andy Ruiz, if he loses, a good half a stone or so. And although he had speed of hand, he would even be better if he could get a bit lighter and have speed of feet. Right? But there was no uppercut from Joshua there tonight. And we have to say, Andy Ruiz, when he was dropped, that was more of a surprise shot. He took Anthony Joshua's punches very well. A bit like the way David Tower in his prime used to take big punches. So that is something to consider. Joshua psychologically, if he gets in the right frame of mind, of course he can come back. But against Andy Ruiz, against the guy he knows took his punch, and he couldn't take his, what does that do to a fighter psychologically? And as I said, Ruiz, if he got in better shape, I would encourage it. But you can still achieve a lot with a lot of, package on your body. As I said, I've ran marathons when I have not been skinny. But I've passed people who are skinny. Not every time, but a lot of times. The next marathon I do, though, I will be in better shape. That's no question about it. I just like it. But I do know, I've also seen, when you see these workers who work on a building site or dig holes to put things, on the road, their work rate compared with a guy who is narcissistic in the gym, they would absolutely murder the guys in the gym. I don't care how many muscles you've got. Those guys who are doing the heavy work outside, the real labour, would absolutely trouse the gym rats. There's more to life than just being a gym rat. You've got to be a labourer with it. I'm telling you. My stepfather, Ned, he told me at work that he knew this guy and he had muscles on top of muscles, and he had muscles in places where most people don't have places. Right? In the job. Can't last 2 hours. He has to sit down. He was sweating like, it's always summer in winter. Literally. There's Ned. Easy after 12 hours. But if you look at the two, you can tell who wants to be the narcissist and who is the normal guy. But the normal guy was whooping his ass. And Joshua tonight had a Frank Bruno-like physique. But didn't we see Mike Tyson at times look a bit tubby, but beat the living daylights out of Frank Bruno? Lennox Lewis had less muscular sort of physique than Frank Bruno. He beat Frank Bruno. Doesn't work that way. Do you know, Carl Froch said that Andy Ruiz looks like just a big lump. But Tony Bellew said, doesn't have to look like an athlete because he's a fighter. There's a difference. Tony Bellew was spot on. But I'm happy for Andy Ruiz. I'm sorry for Anthony Joshua. Of course, he could still beat some guys out there. Maybe this will just make the heavyweight division more exciting. There's more people in there now for exciting fights. Tyson Fury will not be frightened of AJ now. Certainly Deontay Wilder certainly won't. Joshua's weaknesses tonight that got him defeated, he's had before. I've explained it. It's just he won the fights previously. But the frailties are there. No head movement. Well, he does have head movement. He does have defense. He's achieved more Anthony Joshua than most people will ever do. Let's not, beat around the bush. And Joe Frazier, you see, if he had an attitude like Joe Frazier, Joe Frazier took a whipping, didn't he, by George Foreman? Absolute devastating pounding in 2 rounds. And come back and give great accounts of himself v. Muhammad Ali. Joshua's got to look at that mindset, right? But, of course, we will only know the truth when Anthony Joshua comes back. We're talking about unique people in Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Lennox Lewis. They were certain all-time greats. A defeat to them was just like, waking up on a Sunday morning and, realising it's 4 o'clock and the missus hasn't made the Sunday dinner. So you decide to have beans on toast instead. You get over it. That's how they saw defeat. Today, because it's so, that zero is so magnified. That was the problem a little bit with the Floyd Mayweather era. It made fighters feel like there were nobodies if they took a defeat. Where you have a Manny Pacquiao, George Foreman and so forth, they don't give a damn if they lose. It's what they achieve. But that zero business has really, really taken the confidence away from fighters. Joshua should not think that he's finished because he's lost the zero. This should be the start. He's good enough and young enough to recover. Have faith in that. Andy Ruiz, if he, gets confidence and does what he does, could have a great future too. And sometimes in a great era, you don't always have a great standout fighter. It can be 4 or 5. Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, Duran, they were all kind of beating each other, weren't they? None of them really, got in the car and drove off quickest. But it still meant that they went into the Hall of Fame and were all-time greats. Even though, on Thursday, Ray Leonard would win, and on Saturday, Tommy Hearns would win, Maybe the heavyweight division will be a healthier place with a situation like that, and we might just have that. So, Anthony Joshua, I wish you well. And let me just say, God bless Mr. Reyes, former Arsenal invincible, who passed away in a car crash. We will so miss you. And God bless you. So, on a dramatic night, this is Champions of Champions Boxing Talk. I'm out, brother.